All right, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings Rise to War. We're going to be talking about how to skill up your Dwalin commander. So Dwalin is one of the most versatile commanders, I think, in the game, mainly because he can be a healer, he can be a damage dealer, or or you can have him kind of as a hybrid mixed. You also get him as the first commander in the game if you play as Erebor. So that's a great and he's tier 1, so he's relatively easy to build up in respect as you go along. However, I do see a lot of people just not skilling him up properly or not skilling up correctly, in my opinion. So I just want to make a video kind of talking about him, hopefully help people. If you're doing your build for Dwalin, you can get some ideas and improve how much damage you put and improve your battle ratios. So let's kind of jump in and take a look at it. So first, let's take a look at skilling up a respect level 3 here. So I made a bunch of good notes and I kind of screenshot some stuff. So if you look at this, you got a 42 Dwalin going against a 41 Gandalf. The commander damage, 133,000. Now the troop composition really isn't that great in this one. That's why the soldiers only did 40,000. His troop comp, slightly better. Even though he had a tier 2, he still did 110,000 damage. And that's mainly because he mainly went with archers and tanky units up front, which is great. In my opinion, that is the best combination for Dwalin. You put a tanky unit, you put your dwarves up front, and then I like to put 2 types of ranged units. I like to put bow knights in the back with elven archers, or I like to put bow knights or elven archers and Rohirrim archers, right? Kind of gives you the higher punch up front with the Rohirrim archers and the ability to dodge the first round of damage with the elven. Kind of a mix there. But the build for Dwalin is very solid here. So if you look how he did it, right, 133,000 for him on an R3 build. That's pretty good, right? If you could get that up to closer to 80 to 100,000 in damage with a better troop comp, that would give you about 230 in damage. That's going to be a really good damage output. And he's got a little bit of healing, not a whole lot, and we can kind of take a look at that. So first one you got, they went 15 out of 15 for experienced warrior. So that's going to give you a plus 60 normal attack damage on your commander. And then they went with collaboration, which is normal attacks cause an additional 125% physical damage. You look at the gear on him, pretty decent gear, not nothing blowing you away, but good gear, definitely. Then you've got musician, so they went 4 out of the 15 there. So musician gives you army speed and army defense increase. And then they went with relief, and relief gives the unit with the highest defense recovery of, it starts at 32.5%. And let's see. So then they, because it's an R3, you have Durin's Blood unlocked. So Durin's Blood, that's going to give you, they went 15 out of 15. So that's going to give you skill damage plus percentage, starts at 28. I think 15 out of 15 is going to be 50, but don't quote me on that. It starts at 28. Increase in combat. And then they maxed out the all-in. So all-in is against one enemy target, deals, a bonus against physical damage once, reduces next damage dealt by 35%. So if you look at that, it's 642.8% damage. That's what all in does. So that's a huge damage increase. And then they also went with Whirlwind. So on Whirlwind, that's going to be against 2 enemy targets in round 2, deals 257.1 physical damage, prioritizing melee units. And that's out of 5 out of 7. So that's a great build. That is a pretty solid build. If you could just improve your troop comp, keep your tanky units up front and then let your ranged units do the damage. The tanky units just holding them back, and then the ranged units are, increasing that damage. Look at the might there. Pretty solid all around. All right, so now let's kind of jump in and take a look at an R5 build. So we're going to jump down to here. Let's take a look. So you got a 50 Dwalin going 45 Kamul. I think that's how you say it. Pretty solid. They got the Headless Horseman, which is a tier 4 unit. And then they got, looks like some kind of Axeman type unit. So here is a much better, damage output. Now it is a 50 going against a 45, so kind of keep that in mind. But he did 192,000 damage, and the soldier comp pretty solid, 70,000. Once again, really went with 3 melee units up front. That may or may not have been the best choice. Kind of depends on what your opinion on those. I like these Rohirrans. I'm not a huge fan of the, I like the Gondorian because they're anti-melee. Not as huge much fan. Going against these guys with the Rohirrans. But, he did give Kamul 263,000 damage. Here, Kamul did most of his damage with foot soldiers, so you took 47. And he doesn't have any healing, so he didn't heal any of his troops back. So, then you come down, you look at it, and you look how this skilled. Once again, pretty solid gear here, so kind of keep that in mind. But he went with the experienced warrior once again, and we know that increases your normal attack by 60%. So that's one that does it round after round, so that's great. And then they also went with the collaboration, so that increased the normal attacks, caused an additional 125% physical damage. So that's a great addition as well. Then they went with Durin's Blood, 15 out of 15. So that's going to increase the skill damage plus a percentage during combat. They went with All In. Now, All In deals, let's see, they went 7 out of 7. So All In deals 642% physical damage once, and then reduces it by 42.8%. And then they also did Whirlwind, which against 2 enemy targets deals 300% physical damage. So you're really just focusing on doing as much physical damage as you possibly can. And because it's an R5, they went with a Lonely Mountain. And this Lonely Mountain reduces what kind of physical damage you receive. They maxed it, so they also got a burn damage received 50% lower, which is the Lonely Mountain's max level effect on it. Decent troop composition, and probably not what I would have gone with, but they could have been just, if they're in a war, they're getting down to kind of the end of the troops. Sometimes when you're in a war, you just don't have, you don't have the troops to optimize every commander. You just kind of put together what you can and go. So nothing wrong with that. Good damage output, as you can see. 263,000 damage. That's that is a very good damage output. So why did I say that he's one of the best? Most versatile commanders, in my opinion, at the R1 or the tier 1 commanders, because he can do healing. Now, if you want to set up Dwalin to say be a healer, you could set up, and as you can see, I wrote, this is my Balrog Hunter setup. So if you look at it, let's go down here. So if you set him up and you want to hunt Balrogs with him, this is what I believe is the best, most optimal setup. So you got a 33 Dwalin. You're going with all bow cav or bow knights on it. So here, he did 56,000 damage. He did 92,000. So against your Balrog, the Balrog took 149,000 damage. Commander, we only received 8,000, which is great, and then we healed 1,300 of that. So really, we received about 6,800 in damage. Then you look at the setup. So once again, you've got Experienced Warrior. But here we only went with one in, we said 7 out of 7 hunt down, but really it's only hunt down is just one. And let's see. So after the commander, so hunt down is after the commander attacks against the enemy target. Damage dealt is plus 1.6%, effect modified by might stat for 2 rounds up to 2 stacks. So that's great. It'll keep stacking up on each other. But then you also have, once again, you have the musician, or we haven't talked about musician. So you have musician here, and that increases speed and defense. And then they went with relief. Now relief is allied with the highest defense recovers 32.5 XP, effect modified by the focus stat. And obviously, as you scale up this Dwalin up to 50, you can increase these too. And then this is an R5 build for hunting Balrogs. And this is why. So you got Lonely Mountain, skilled all the way up to 15. So that's going to reduce the physical damage received. And then they have Giant Slayer. So against large units, which a Balrog is a large unit, you're going to do an increased amount of damage against them. And then also Longbeard, physical damage ignores 7.1% of the target's defense. So this is a great Balrog hunting, And if you ever decide that you just want a more healer, you can add, you can put more of a healing aspect in by just skilling up this tier versus this tier. And then so you would skill these 2 tiers, and that's maybe like your R1 where you get good healing, but you also get good damage. A lot of times what you'll do is you'll start with the healers when you first start the game, because when you're hunting or when you're getting resource tiles, you don't want to lose a lot of troops. But then you'll later redo it to kind of do a combat, more higher damage. All right, so let's take a look. What am I currently running on my setups? So what I've been running is this setup. So if you look at it, and you can kind of ignore some of the commander damage because this does have some pretty good gear on him. But, once again, troop comp is okay. But, here he did 263 damage on this Kamul. And you look down at it, So you got the Experienced Warrior, and you have the, what is that? Collaboration, yeah. So, let's see. We already talked about this one, but this is one that I've been running on mine. I just think that the amount of damage that it puts out, is just fantastic. It goes head to head with a lot of the tier 2 commanders. If you run up against somebody that doesn't have their set right, you can inflict a ton of damage on them with this setup, So, I hope that helped everybody. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it around with your friends. Hopefully I can grow this channel a little bit more. I'm going to be doing more Rise to War stuff. Also jump in and do some Linux stuff. That's kind of what this channel is going to be about. We're going to go through some of the other commanders here. I think probably next we're going to do, a Theoden build or something. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for hanging with me, and have a great rest of your day.